Hello and welcome to our brand new YouTube channel, Allotment Flower Garden. As you might already know, we have got an existing channel called Peas in the Pod, hence the t-shirts. But this will be totally different. This is all about the flowers, enjoying them. That's the first and foremost thing. Growing them, caring for them, tips to keep your flowers flowering longer. A really big thing that I'm really keen on will do is extending your season. So you haven't just got a beautiful garden in 3 months of the year. You've got that garden going on all year round. We're into August, back end of August. As you probably can pick up from there, there's plenty of flowers out in this garden at the minute, and it's swapping over from being an allotment veg garden to just being a flower garden. So there's still bits of veg knocking about, but then again, the beans are smothered in red flowers, look stunning. A lot of dahlias at the moment because we're showing dahlias, but there's all sorts. We're going to cover everything from alpines right up, all autumn planted stuff, winter baskets, and then through into spring and onwards, because I'll do my utmost best to show you that we can have some flowers and colour in as gardens in this country, in England, every month of the year for 12 months a year, without it costing you a fortune. If you like what we're up to, subscribe to us, then you get notified straight to your phone or whatever device you're on when we download, and give us a like if you would. Right, first thing we're going to do today, it's August, it's back end of August, we're thinking about spring, we're thinking about some colour early next year. Dan, I'm going to plant some bulbs.
Blooming lovely.
Right, so we're planting daffs. I've already put a few out. Way to do it with daffodils is you want it to look as natural as possible. Now in nature, things don't go in straight lines, they grow randomly. So we're just scattering a few of those about, random as we can. We'll plant them where they fall. Two varieties I'm putting in is a yellow one, Tamara, and a white one with a sort of pinkish centre called Winston Churchill. And I do them in two drifts with the yellow and whites overlapping at the edges. So I'm going to put the yellows in slightly, well, they are a darker colour obviously than white, so the darker colours you tend to go in the background, the lighter colours in the foreground, just to give you that sort of contrast. So we're going to do that. Right, before you turn off in your drawers thinking, oh, daffodils, they're an underrated flower. They're really good, splash of colour at a time of year when you're struggling, and the varieties that are available now are stunning. You know, there's the avalanche ones where you can have 50, 60 flowers on one stem. You've got doubles, you've got the dwarf ones, the cyclamen types. You know, it's worth grabbing a seed catalogue, a bulb catalogue, and having a look at that. I think you'd be surprised. You know, for a lot of years, I would say, they just seemed to be something that were planted on bankings at side of motorways, and you didn't take a lot of notice of them, but they are. And around Easter time, they really come into their own, that February. And also, if you just have a little look at them, you can get a good succession maker. I think the first sort of daff you can get out is end of January, and they'll take you right up through more or less into May if you pick your varieties when you're looking through them catalogues and work it that way.
Yeah.
So, right, yeah. We're on very, very hard clayey soil in this neck of the woods up in South Yorkshire. So, right, I'll plant a couple of bulbs. Obviously, I'm not going to plant them all because there's 10 kilos here. I'll just show you where we do it and a couple of things I do with being up north. So first thing to bear in mind when you're planting your daffs is, rule of thumb, they want to be planted double the depth of the bulb. So what do I mean by that? Well, put that at the bottom of the trowel, you can see it's roughly 3 inches of a 6-inch trowel. So I bring the bottom up to the 3-inch. There you go. That's where it's going to be planted, at the bottom of the trowel, which is double the depth of the bulb.
Yeah.
Main reasons, basically, if you plant it too shallow, it can come up blind on you. What does that mean? You'll get lots of foliage and no flower. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go travel deep. Yeah. And because we're up north and we have got this heavy clay soil, once I get that depth, I'll set that loose out with my hand. I'm just going to bit of sharp sand for the bulb to sit on. That basically, because we're in heavy clay, it's really wet soil in the winter, the base of the bulb would start to rot.
Yeah.
So that'll stop it from doing so. I'm going to put a pinch more in. Yep. Cover that back up. And that's it. You can buy bulb fertilizers if it's a garden that you haven't really cultivated or a border you don't really feed. Add that as a bit of a base dressing just to let them get up and give them an hand during the winter, when the first couple of months are basically just putting the roots on before you'll start seeing some growth. So yeah, so all that area round here, all these penstemons, which is going to be a collection of penstemons, these are all going to be underplanted with daffodils to give it that bit more interest come spring, when these are still putting the growth on the penstemons and there's no flowers. Excuse me. One of the things we plant in spring bulbs as well is it helps the pollinators. You know, it's that time when your bees and that are waking up, and you'll find you're getting a lot more bees and such into your garden, yeah, and after these daffs. Now, if you're somebody who's gardening on a balcony or very limited space, or zero garden, like I said, just a balcony, it doesn't stop you growing stuff like this. You can grow some in a pot, I'll show you. So, like I said, we've got two different types here. We've got yellow. I'll take 3 yellows. Again, random numbers, don't go for even numbers. And I'll take 4 whites. So I'll take 3 yellows and 4 whites. We'll head up to the greenhouse and I'll show you. Right, so here we are in the greenhouse. What I've done, I've got a nice deep, these are what I call rose pots. They're a 2 litre pot, but they're nice and deep. Yeah? Yeah. And I've got my bulbs, I've got 7. Any compost, standard compost, soil-based, is fine. I'm going to put 2 handfuls in, Dan, which is roughly about 1/3 of that pot. Yeah? Yeah. I'm just going to sit my bulbs in there. These more or less can be touching, they don't even have to be that spaced out, although I think 7 is going to just be one too many for this pot, because they're a nice size bulb, these. So we'll go with 6. In fact, we won't, we'll go with 5. Keep it odd. Oh. Fill this pot up with compost. We're slightly under the rim, which is roughly double the depth of the bulb. Right, if you have got a greenhouse, don't keep it in greenhouse. Yeah. It's the last place you want to put it. Just place it outside, because they can sweat in greenhouse. These bulbs can sweat. Don't need to put sand in with this compost, it's free draining. And just sit that, sorry Dan, just sit that outside there, or in, you know, in any suitable position you have. If it's really dry winter, it could want the water, just keep your eye on it. Frosts and that won't bother it. Come spring, when they're flowering, you can put them anywhere you like. You know, you can put them outside your front door, or you do as many as you like of them. You can add other bulbs to that. You know, you could add snowdrops, you could add crocus, bluebells, grape hyacinths, you know, all the spring flowering stuff. Plant a couple of primulas in there and all, and make a pot of it. Or do a bigger container and put a good mix of bulbs in and spring flowers. Yeah. Like I said, pretty much look after itself in the winter. And then you've got it as a splash of colour come the spring to brighten the garden up, as it were. Right, so with daffs, what to avoid? Well, one thing I would avoid, if you can, is they do look natural, but if it's a lawn you look after, in a manicured lawn, planting them in lawns. Yeah. Because once they've finished flowering, which some daffs can be as late as May, you're going to weaken the bulb if you cut them straight down. Yeah. They really want 6 weeks leaving green to build up that energy in the bulb, which starts overlapping with when you're cutting your grass. So you get problems and it can look a little bit untidy. Yeah. Yeah. Plant them in soil, plant them in pots. Some people remove the seed heads once they've formed a seed head. They tie them up. I've seen where they've actually tied the stems up and stuff. You don't need to do any of that really. Just let nature do that for you. Unless it's just something you think they're untidy with seed heads on, by all means take them off. But it's not something you have to do. But let them have them 6 weeks. And a little feed when they're finished flowering all helps to bulge your bulb up. The bigger your bulb gets, the better your flower will get, the more vibrant the colour, and the longer it will last. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a little bit on daffs, Dan. We're coming into that time of year where we will be doing a lot more sort of bulb planting and stuff. So when I've planted my 10 kilos of daffodil bulbs and give me back time to recover, I've also got a good fair amount of these tulips to plant. That's Red Riding Hood. Yep, and then we have some alliums. We've got a couple of mixed standard sized alliums. I think I've got about a dozen of those to plant, which will be going in the woodlandy sort of bed outside the greenhouse. And we've got an allium giganticum, which they're really all crackers. They're an expensive bulb. I think they were £2 a piece then.
Yeah.
But they're worth it. You know, they really are a good show bulb.
Yeah.
That's a big giganticum, has a really big purple head on it. Yeah. So there are a bulb, alliums, I think you'll see becoming a lot more popular over the next few years. So that's a little bit on bulbs. We'll be back. I hope you liked it. If you did, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want this to go straight to your device, like we said at the beginning. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We've got a show to go to, so we'll have a good look at all the cut flowers and what have you that's on display there.
Yeah.
And then we'll be going up to the National Show at Harrogate. It will be the Dahlias sort of championships and stuff like that. There'll be loads to see there, chrysanthemums. And
yeah.
So we'll bring you all that, plus what I'm planting and what I'm moving on to next. A quick one before I forget, before I go. Deadheading. Want to keep your plants in flower, keep deadheading them. Now though, we're getting to that time at season, like for instance, look at these, Dan, I'll show you. My penstemons, Dan. I've stopped deadheading. The simple reason why I've stopped deadheading is because I want them to set some seed now.
Yeah.
If I take these off now, it's getting late for us up here. We might not get another flush of flower.
Yeah.
So we'll be back in 2 weeks. If we've got any ready, I'll show you, such as penstemons, all herbaceous perennials you can do this week. We'll take some seed off and we'll do what we call sowing them in the green.
Yeah.
We'll take you through that.
Great.
Thanks a lot. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Cheers.